in podcast Detroit, recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that crowler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
How's it going, everybody? Episode 180 Better on Draft, 190 Better on Draft podcast. My name is Ken. We are live in studio. A little toasty here in the studio, to say the least. And that's not even because we don't have a full studio. We got a small little studio. Matt, how you doing?
Ken, I am doing well. I started a little bit early today. I was either going to take a nap or go to the bar, so I opted for bar time.
I went to the nap.
Oh, well, it is Jam X's second anniversary, so I went
good
and
for them.
celebrated with them. They have a strawberry milkshake IPA, which there's way too much going on in there, but it's actually really, really good. So they're doing $1 off pours of everything on their menu this weekend. And then Sunday they're doing $1 beers of either their Heart of Darkness, which is their black IPA, or their Lazy Day IPA, which is a kind of session, kind of an all-day kind of situation. So Sunday, and they'll also have a food truck then. So I think it's Panzerotti, Detroit Panzerotti Company. So pizza, cheap beer, good time, and a celebration of Jam X. One of the good local, corner breweries that I think is what makes this whole community and industry better.
For sure, and always something different on tap when you go there. I actually went to the Lost River Tiki Bar, as we talked about last week.
And you didn't invite me. How shameful.
Well, I was on a date with the little lady. So her and I went to do the rum flight that they did yesterday, and pretty good. And then I had my go-to rum. Do you drink rum at all?
I drink rum. I don't often. If I'm getting it's probably one of my lower on the rungs. Number one is going to be gin, then whiskey, vodka. So vodka and rum kind of go back and forth for me. It just depends on what I'm going to mix it with.
Well, I'm gonna spoil next week's drink because I'm gonna start bringing a new liquor every week to end the show.
Oh,
and next week I'm gonna be bringing a juniper moonshine, not a high ABV moonshine, but it's a moonshine nonetheless.
I guess I don't understand the idea of why you would have a moonshine if it's not high ABV.
So this moonshine that I got, and we'll talk about it more next week, was from a Canadian brewery, and Canada has rules in regards to proof and taxation across provinces. So a lot of their moonshines that they were selling were only like 44 proof. Not
Allegedly
percent.
or actually?
Proof, yes, actually.
So I guess they paid their proper tax, I'm imagining, right?
Yes. So anything
and it's
over
imported legally?
So
it's not really moonshine. It's just revolt beverage. It's just a variant. It's not a moonshine because it's taxed. It's not made at night, and there's nothing really different about it. So
the guy had all of his teeth and didn't wear a wife beater either. So we're trying not to get
popcorn.
It was not popcorn. Is that from the TV show?
Yeah, Popcorn Sutton.
I feel like I've watched the TV show a handful of times back at my last job because I was just bored as all hell there. Having people do work. It was not the most ideal management job ever.
I guess I just don't understand why you would call it moonshine. And this is my and I'll get off of it. If you follow all the laws and ordinances and it's regulated, why would you call it moonshine?
Maybe there's a difference when it involves Canada.
Do they not have a moon in Canada?
I can't tell you. But we do have some guests in studio today. We were kind of going back and trying to figure out the last time they were here, and it was actually 3 years ago. So one of them was here 3 years ago. And to my left, Tom, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Why don't you reintroduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yeah, I'm Tom Block. I'm the director of the brewing and distillation program at Schoolcraft College.
All right, and that's been going on for a little over 3 years now, right?
Yeah, this is our fourth year.
Yeah. And next to you, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Tim George. I'm the assistant brewer at Schoolcraft and a graduate of the program also.
Graduate? How long ago did you graduate?
I'll be beginning of May this year.
You actually have a fan in the chat room right now.
Have you ever had a fan before? In anything?
No.
Is it his mother?
It is not his mother.
Oh, well, who is it?
The name is Ian Boyle
Oh,
von
okay.
Frankenstein.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's not the full, real, legal name.
That's his legal name. No, it's just Ian Boyle. My buddies, yep.
I don't know. We should report him on Facebook and be like, make him. I don't know if you ever knew that on Facebook, like if you report someone for not having the real name, they make you show them your ID to unlock your account.
Yeah,
So if you ever
yeah.
got pissed at someone for having a fake name, or if you ever got pissed at someone and they have a fake name on Facebook, there you go. There's a way to get to them.
Doesn't every girl have a fake name on Facebook? It's just her first name and her middle name.
Middle name.
There's no last name.
So you
There's-
can't find them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I have a friend who will always, like, whenever he's going for a new job, he'll change his name. So you'll know, like, if his name's changed in Facebook, that he's looking for a new job. He's a teacher, though, so
Okay. Well,
he doesn't post anything negative. So I was kind of like, why? But I'm sure, like, there'd be some random post like Shawn Mendes, like 10 years ago. Did
Was
you
Shawn
see?
Mendes even outlet 10 years ago?
Shawn Mendes, somebody drug up some racist tweets of his.
Everyone said stuff like that when they were 16.
You know, I agree. Doesn't make it any more or less right.
The things that we've done since 2009 and 2019 are.
I'm just
leaps and
happy there
bounds.
was no such thing as Twitter or Facebook in 2004, and MySpace is dead. My live journal, you might be able to find something. So the brewing distilling program, how long does that last? Like, if I wanted to join this year, the fourth year, how long am I in school for? How many hours a week?
You can finish in 1 year, and so hours a week, I guess full time would be, I think 3 classes.
Yeah, that sounds about
3
right.
classes one semester, 4 classes a second. That would probably be 12 hours a week
Yeah.
ish.
Yep, definitely.
Are there extra classes to take that would help you within the curriculum that you guys suggest students to take if they're like making it longer, or do you kind of just try to get them in, get them out, and get them a job?
Yeah, so it's a 25 credit certificate.
Okay.
So it's 1 year, so you go get your certificate after those 25 credits and go out and look for work if that's what you want to do.
All right.
And
And
how successful have you guys been placing people, or what's the response like from the brewing community?
It's been phenomenal. I mean, it's absolutely outstanding. I should have brought the list with me because I can't even remember, all the breweries anymore. But
Make sure you share it with us, and we'll put it on Facebook with the
Yeah,
post.
I mean, Brew Detroit, Aberrant, Block Brewing. I mean, there's
At least 25 or I'd say
yeah, there's a
30.
list of 20.
30 breweries.
And then people are out of state. One of our graduates is now working at Coors. Say what you want, but that's where they wanted to go.
we always believe, like, as much as we may not like the business practices of those breweries, the brewing process, consistency is key.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, they make the same thing over and over and over, exactly the same.
Yep.
And that's a challenge. That's hard to do. On the craft side especially. So kudos to those guys for doing what they do.
Is that the biggest brewery that you've placed somebody in? I mean,
I mean,
legally it would have
the
to.
word the word place
It
is
can't get really that much bigger. but
they found the job themselves. I mean, we literally don't have to place people. I get contacted by a lot of different breweries all the time, looking for people, and these folks are finding jobs on their own besides just any of our Facebook posts or whatever. So if they want a job in our industry, they're getting it.
What is the most, let's say, different position that someone's come to you with? Like someone who, like the furthest job away from craft beer or just beer in general, that someone came in and said, hey, I worked for the Detroit Zoo and now I want to pour beer, or I don't even think a beekeeper.
You're talking like a pre-job. Like, this was
Yeah,
my
like-
current job,
What
and I
were
want to
they doing
change. Yeah.
now?
before coming
to-
to Schoolcraft, that was like the most different or the wildest thing you've heard of.
Oh man, that's kind of
Like I was a bounty hunter in Hawaii, and I want to just slow down.
Nothing that wild, but man, school teachers to vet techs to it's all automotive. We get folks coming in the automotive that maybe at the end of their career and they're looking for something to do part time after they retire. That's we do get a lot of that, and I don't have a wild beekeeper story, as far as
Is there is there a field or a science or a characteristic that you see kind of in your more successful students that you see kind of like a job or a field?
what did
or
they
a
do before?
Yeah, like
You know
say like all mechanics are really good at this, or everybody who studied mathematics is good at this? Is there like a certain field that people are more successful in?
Well, I'm always looking for folks that are good with their hands and that can problem solve for one, fix something on the fly. I mean, Tim was a mechanic.
Yep.
In a previous life. So
ASC technician.
yeah,
Worked
so
my way up, managed some stores, some auto repair
so
stores.
for me, easy decision
Manage
to
some
hire.
stores. You look like you're 24.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. 32.
You might be turning 24 next week.
Maybe.
25.
So I'll share a story with you because it's actually with Joe Short. So Joe, I think this guy still works for him, was looking for a pub brewer way back before their production facility. And the guy came in for the interview, and Joe asked him what he did, how are his mechanic skills. He goes, well, I just converted my vehicle to biodiesel, so he can run oil on it. He said, you're hired. It was just like that. So typically those are the best folks a lot of times. One of the, going back in a previous life, or not in the life, a previous brewery, one of the guys that I used to work with at Arcadia worked on the ships in the Great Lakes. Hardworking dude, would do anything. He had done some of the crappiest jobs you could ever imagine on those ships, and he's like, "Oh, this stuff's nothing for me, based on my past." So if you're looking to hire somebody, you're going to hire somebody like that.
Sure.
But that having been said, you can learn it.
And this might be more towards Tim, but obviously you probably get to see like the grades and stuff. When you're going for like a business degree, everyone talks about that one class, which is always like stats. Like statistics is the class that like makes or break people.
I love stats.
You're a
I know
monster.
I know which one he's going to answer.
That
with.
was easy.
So what is the class that you see or that you did have problems with, struggles with, issues with?
Yeah, definitely the brewing science class, just because it's so much chemistry, a lot of math. I'm not the greatest at math, but definitely you can work your way through it. But that was the toughest class for sure.
Did you, one of the things we grew up with is that somebody always said, to always learn math because you'll never have a calculator in your pocket. Are you able to use your phone to do scientific translations while you were taking your tests? Or?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
No.
See, I don't agree with that. I feel like, if you are going to be able to use your phone in the real world, now you might not have time to use your phone. Like you might need to crunch these numbers fast, but
you know what? The alternative to not having a calculator is like long division, in which case it's never faster than just what is 32 divided by, or what is 147 million thousand divided by 32. Like you'll never get the
trying
math.
to figure out what that number is, 147 million thousand,
Probably something in the like 1.3
billion.
trillion. Yeah, like there's no way you'll ever finish the math on paper before you would on a calculator, or even, if it was like, I remember in 11th grade, the hardest for me was, we have a liquid in tank A that is 7% alcohol. And we have a liquid in tank B that is 2% alcohol. How much liquid do we put in C to make them blend? I never got those answers correct. Like I almost skipped them entirely in math class. I never got that.
I feel like those would be the questions that I would skip and try to come back to later, thinking that I might have learned something during the test that will help me back. I'm looking at the brewing science, and that's taught by what I'm guessing by A Stout, which is Adam over from Aberrant.
Correct.
So is it like what's the struggles that you guys or that you had in brewing science? Like why? Because that's a first semester class, so that could probably scare or deter a lot of people.
Yeah. It's just a tough class, A lot of homework. Got to put your mind to it and get it done. But once you get that basic chemistry and the foundation down, it teaches it really well, and you get it.
Is it because Adam looked even younger than you?
No, I didn't have Adam as a teacher though.
He had Rich.
Yeah, I had Rich Weinkoff. So I can't really speak for Adam. He's a great guy, but he wasn't my teacher. I had Weinkoff.
Adam's still our scientist on staff.
He still knows his stuff.
He's just one of those guys that digs into the science behind.
And was he
brewing,
at? Where did he say he was in Fort Collins, Colorado? Was he at New Belgium, or was he at one of the places around it?
I can't remember. You'd have to go back to the first road show that we did, which had Aberrant Ales on there, sandwiched in between Brewery Becker and Old Nation. Yes. Now, you guys are obviously teaching brewing science, getting into it. Like, what is the brewing distilling classes that you're teaching? Like business? Are you teaching marketing?
Yeah, marketing for sure. And then you guys know Annette May. She teaches the sensory side of things as far as, I mean, that's obviously beer related, but and then the service side. So how to pour a beer, make sure makes clean glass, how to clean draft lines, that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'd like to think we cover it all.
So one thing that we talk a lot about on the show is just diversity in general. So how do you think that we can get more diversity into the craft beer world? What are some things that Schoolcraft has done? Where do you see the future of, not being just millennial white dudes?
Male-dominated industry.
Male-dominated white
we still
dudes.
are. I mean, it's shifting. Different ethnicities and more women that are in the industry now than for sure when I, started 20-some years ago. So, our first graduating class, there was 6 people, and there were 3 of them were women. So, yeah.
Now, how many people on average graduate from you guys a year?
20.
20?
Yeah, about 20. So it varies, but it's typically about 10 a semester-ish.
Okay. Now, you guys, we'll talk about your beer here in a second, but you've won GABF medals, right?
World Beer Cup.
World Beer Cup medals.
And some U.S. Open beers as well.
Is there a beer that maybe you weren't, that you did maybe wasn't appreciated at that high of a level, but you were just blown away by? Because I know one of the goals that you guys do is everybody, writes a recipe and brews it. Is there something that you feel like just got, underappreciated or went under the radar that came out of the American Harvest Pub?
Yeah, I mean, Tim and I talked about this a few weeks back. Our Czech Pilsner. It's phenomenal. You drink it, and we'll brew it again here probably, I don't know, in a 3 months or whatever, but I just thought it rocked. And we sent it to competitions, and I can't remember. Maybe it did pick up something in the U.S. Open a few years back, but the GABF guys didn't. The judges they did not like it. It just wasn't. It didn't make it to the next round, and I'm like, it's such a crapshoot with those things anyway, because you get 3 or 4 people sitting at a table, and everybody's got different.
Gonna say crapshoot for sure.
Yeah, it is. I'd go back to that one, and so we've kind of went away from entering that beer in the competitions because the judges, they don't really seem to like it too much. So we're going at different beers.
Well, speaking of beer, you got some beer in front of you. Let's crack one open and give it a pour. That's for sure.
We're doing the Kolsch first, right?
Yeah, let's do the Kolsch.
This is the fun part for me. The last time I was on the show.
Oh, it's got the full top pop, so it doesn't.
360 open as is what they're called. So yeah, but.
Is there any positives, like a net positive, to using those versus just your standard pop tip? Or
so aromatics right away. If you don't have a glass, it's got nice to it, so you can don't have to pour it in a new glass if you want. I think that's the advantage to it.
Great for the beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
The original wide mouth, right? You remember when, I think it was 1997 when Mountain Dew went to the wide mouth for a summer, and then the next year they came back to full-time wide mouth, and now everybody's a wide mouth can.
I'm probably. I mean, I don't remember the
early 90s. They had the tiny can openers or the tiny can.
I mean, I used to drink a lot of Mountain Dew as a kid, but I was always going to just 7-Eleven because it was always cheaper to get the double gulp as opposed to paying for a 20 ounce. So talk about the Kolsch. Is the recipe from one of your students? Is this like the first recipe that you guys made?
No, it's actually not one of the student recipes. It's my original recipe from 18 some odd years ago. I really, really enjoy the style. I mean, I'm an IPA and a pale guy, but the Kolsch has always had enough hoppiness for me to keep me interested. It's a great summer beer.
I could drink this all day.
Yeah, I created the recipe, it was probably 18 years ago, and it was before I went to Cologne. I got to spend a couple of days in Cologne with my previous career, and We had made the beer before I went to Cologne, and I went to Cologne, and I'm like, oh man, I hit this right on the head. So flash forward, I don't know, 10, 12 years later, I actually got to control some recipes in one of the breweries I was working at and started brewing the beer at the brewery, and it's followed me ever since. It's gotten tweaked, maybe not the grain bill, but what we do special at Schoolcraft is we have the ability to really adjust our water. So we back our water into the Cologne water first, and that's the water we use for the brewing process. So if you were to taste this beer at my previous breweries, it's different.
When you say you back your water into, what the hell does that mean?
Well, you basically start from scratch and then
Sure.
start adding, your salts and minerals into it to match the Cologne water.
So you work
alkalinity,
with
pH,
the water we have here, and then you try to match Kolsch water.
So
close
we
as
start
possible.
out with charcoal filtered water and then RO water. And so that's the base water for it. So it's basically stripped down, and then we add what we need to match the water that you see in Cologne.
Now, Kolsch is such a unique style. How hard is it to match Cologne water? Because it seems like there aren't many places that have their unique style beers.
Yeah.
Cologne is one of those places.
It's not that hard anymore. I mean,
No.
Tim
I guess when you've done it
runs
for
a
18 years,
program
right?
because it's basically a computer program now. So you put in our water
Yes.
Characteristics, and then the Cologne water, and then the program tells you what to add.
But you can't
So
add
back
like
in the
fish
day-
poop or like.
No.
No
Back
fish.
in the day, you had to do the math. And now it's computer programs for it.
Yep.
So I mean,
Well,
it's a lot easier now.
I mean, I think that goes back to the fact of why do you need a brewing science if you just got a computer that can do everything.
Yeah, but you need to know what you're doing behind it. I mean,
Yes,
so
you do.
yeah.
Takes practice for sure.
So, Tim, let's go back to you. You were working in just like a mechanics type, working with not high end technology, but you said ASC.
I worked at a Chrysler dealer. I was
Okay.
a technician. Went through actually Ferris State University through their
Go
4-year
Bulldogs.
Yep, go Bulldogs. 4-year automotive management degree there. Was in the automotive for about 10 years.
Why the change?
I got tired of the day to day, and I wanted to do what I like, and was young enough to where I could step away and got to know Tom. And
So you
Started working.
you went to class at Schoolcraft, but were you brewing home before, like brewing at home?
Yeah, I've been a home brewer about 10 years. Yep.
Okay. Where'd you get your stuff at?
Adventures in home brewing,
Okay.
Craigslist, all over the place. Built
Okay.
it myself, some of it.
You said you built it yourself.
Yep, some plumbing, build the fittings, make the pumps work, hook some connections under the sink, all kinds of stuff.
So that's
I feel like something would explode.
well. So that
like
actually
a meth house and
kind of goes back to what you guys were asking before. Is can you do as a brewer? You're a plumber, you're an electrician,
Janitor.
you're a janitor. More often than you're actually, brewing the beers itself. So those skills are important. They can be learned, obviously, but it does help to, have those.
what is your day to day at the brewery now?
Clean a lot of stuff usually. Teach the students. You gotta, show them the way, point at what they're doing during class hours, and
Yeah.
show them how to clean a fermenter, how to, CIP, run a brew day.
That's what I'd be terrible at being a brewer. I hate cleaning. My house is always dirty. Like if I was my job to clean, I would hate work.
I'm definitely like things will get messy, but then I'll have like a clean day where I'll just like tear everything down, and it's 2 a.m. and like my couch is torn apart, so much shit's on my bed, and I'm like, well, I can't not clean this up, so I have to keep going. That's the only way that I clean is I have to do like a deep clean wherever I go. Like I can't just like sweep the floor. That's just boring to me.
Well, usually like Sundays for me, it's like laundry, clean the kitchen, and all that stuff. But like so many laundry or Sundays come and go, and then it's like Wednesday. I'm like, oh, I guess we're having takeout again today, because that's the only way we're gonna get silverware.
We've touched on the brewing, the distilling program over there. What does that entail? Who's your guys' teachers over there for the distilling portion of the certificate?
So Ken Bailow teaches that. That's in the advanced brewing class. So he that's part of his class is to teach them the process. We don't have a still, so he takes the students out to our local distilleries around the Metro Detroit area,
Okay.
and so they get to see the process the a distilling process. Most of the time they show them how to make cuts, which is probably the most important part of the distilling process.
Have you distilled at all?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for Michigan State for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about like any thoughts of bringing distilling over to block or?
No.
No. Okay.
Schoolcraft, same thing there. We have a brew pub license, so we'd have to change our license to a brewery license and then get a distillery. So maybe 10 years down the road, I don't know, but right now this is how we've set it up.
But yeah, I mean, you guys are working for scholastic purposes, not to make a profit, right? So I mean,
Right.
You can't get like some sort of waiver to like teach people how to still. I mean, that's some moonshine right there.
Yeah, man. It's just our laws and within the state that we wouldn't be able to do it. It's just that those laws hold with the same as with us. So we have a typical brew pub license just like anybody else does in the state.
But I guess Michigan State studied marijuana for 50 years, but no one ever rolled up into their lot and started arresting people for growing marijuana. So isn't it the same kind of process?
It might be, yeah. That has to be some research too.
In regards to your brewery distilling program, like, are you guys teaching them the Michigan laws, like the MLCC?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's in the marketing class. So,
Marketing class. Okay.
Aaron Tyrell teaches that. He's been on the sales and marketing side for, 15, 20 years or something like that. So he's pretty familiar with it. Ken touches base with it a little bit in the advanced class, and then it almost always comes up as a question in my class. Those antiquated laws that we have in the state.
Well, we've mentioned the laws recently.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
What's something you want changed here in the near future that you would either push with your EDU behind you or with the Michigan Brewers Guild or someone that just needs to change?
For me personally, I think and this is the 3-tier system. So brew pubs aren't allowed to distribute.
Yep.
Because of the tier system. I feel like that would be probably something that would be good for the industry. Does everybody want to distribute? No, but you'd still have the ability,
opportunity.
Yeah, to send your beer down the street to a couple of bars or whatever. I'm not saying on a large scale or anything like that.
Well, we've kind of talked about it with the distribution limits. Being able to, like, for instance, we're close to Clausen, which is where Black Lotus is, which is a brew pub. Obviously, Nick over there runs the Brew Pub Club of Michigan. The ability to be able to take his beer over to Moose Winooski's and have it be sold there would be probably a great thing because, it'll work for Moose Winooski's, it'll work for Black Lotus because people are like, oh, what's this? I can go get it right down the road and try some other things and make it an event in Clausen because it gives me now 2 reasons to go to Clausen as opposed to 1, which means I'm going to go downtown a little bit more, go to both bars a little bit more. I would.
I disagree. I think I would never. I guess maybe that's just me.
But I'm already going to Moose Winooski's in the first place.
I wouldn't drink beer. Okay, so I guess this comes from my sales background as well.
Okay.
Like I used to sell beer on premise in Rochester Hills, or Rochester rather, and I always would sell against the mills because I said, well, why would your people want to drink Rochester Mills beer here when they can walk 2 blocks and get it right there and at the source where it's more fresh, where you can indulge the entire experience as opposed to just having it pulled here on your hand crank. Like I'm with you in that I think there should be a radius, and there's a couple of things that are in the works, and I don't know if we'll get into that in the news, but I think there should be a lot of different rules, but I guess I don't see the benefit of it being poured next door. Why not just walk the block over? Like, I guess we always go back to Baffin because I'm in St. Clair Shores. Baffin used to sell its kegs at the restaurant next door. Why wouldn't they just walk across or 2 doors over and just get it fresh from the brewery? Because when you go to a brewery or a brew pub, I think you get more of an experience when you sit down at a restaurant or a bar, and you've got playing darts or a jukebox and pool and.
Yeah, the other side of that is the exposure for the brewery or the brew pub. That somebody might not know that they're there. So they walk into, say, Moose Winooski's and go, hey, what's that? Oh, that's so-and-so. You should try one, and they're just right down the street. So there's an exposure there that you can think of it from a
I
sales
mean,
standpoint.
I
too.
suppose it's like
But we were also talking about it too. You can make Moose Winooski's wit beer, and it could be whatever the wit beer that he's making over at Black Lotus, just relabeled as a
Private
Moose.
label, yeah.
Moose Winooski beer. And at that point, now you can only get that beer. None the wiser, the people buying Moose Winooski's wit is not going to know that it's the exact same beer over at Black Lotus.
But I guess they would ask, like, where did you get the beer?
Well, they'll know it's at Black Lotus, but they just won't know
I think
it's the same.
I think that's a better marketing tool than it would be to sell your beer a block away. Because if you had Moose Winooski's Ale, and I think we need to charge them today for all the giving out.
I think they're going out of business.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. I saw something on Facebook. I don't know. It was from a Quizzo friend, so I don't know if they ended their contract with Quizzo, and they've been a Quizzo customer for like over a
But
decade.
I think that would do more business. Like, hey, you guys make your own beer. No, Black Lotus up the street makes our beer. And then, oh, I like this, and then I can go get whatever they call it, not Moose Winooski's at the Lotus, versus having one of their hip hops or something like that.
Well, speaking of beer, we have a few more cans. Tim, why don't you crack open and talk about the next one?
Pop one open. The Kolsch we just had was the medal winner that we were talking about earlier.
I could tell.
One of silver, right?
Silver World Beer Cup. Yeah, it's a big honor.
World Beer Cup is out of which state?
It varies.
It varies,
So
okay.
it's every other year. We call it the Olympics of our beer competitions. It's always held around the Craft Brewers Conference.
Okay.
So this year it's San Antonio. That particular year was Nashville.
It's interesting about San Antonio because I was doing a Dallas Beer Talk, which is obviously a show out of Dallas, Texas. And he's
What
talking
do they
about
talk about usually?
beer.
Oh, okay.
And they were talking about these state beer festivals and how spread out they are and how rare they are. In regards to Michigan having 4, which is Detroit,
5.
Ypsi, Grand Rapids, and the UP.
Oh, I always think that there's 2. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Each season and then the UP is what I usually think.
Yep, no, just 2 fall, 1 winter, 1 summer. No spring. No spring fall. No spring fest.
2 summers.
1 summer, 2 fall.
Yeah,
Fall
Ypsi and
and
the UP
winter.
are both in the summer.
The UP's in the fall.
UP's in September.
Yeah, but September 21st is the start of fall.
They still call it the UP Fall Fest. That's their
Fine.
fault, not mine. Anyways,
Okay.
talking about like just how spread out their beer festivals are, but they're coming from laws that we don't even have in Michigan. Crazy laws like, at least for the distilling process, like you can't go to like a distillery and drink right off the shelf. You have to go through a tour and pay for the tour and then get samples from the tour. Kind of like Georgia. I believe Georgia, you can't just go to a tap house. Like you have to go on a tour and then get, samples after the tour or during the tour. So there are different rules and regulations, but with Michigan and like it blew my mind that it was in San Antonio just because Texas has such not the best craft beer
Laws?
I guess, following either. I mean, what's down there other than Shiner?
There's something in Austin, isn't there? Not the Austin Brothers, but
Well, I know Celis was down there for a minute, but they just closed up shop a month ago. I don't
I
know
just
if you
think
heard
Texas
that.
is too big of a state to have one brewery or to have.
I just saw a Facebook post on the other day in Celis.
Yeah, Celis is closing their doors.
That was fast.
Yeah, they were only open a few years. I actually wound up running into the owner randomly a year or 2 ago at a like a Bevmo or whatever their huge liquor store, Total Wine maybe. I saw the logo and I'm like, oh, Celis. We used to sell that in Michigan, and it wound up being the daughter that opened up the brewery down
Christine,
in
yeah.
San Antonio, I believe it was.
I think,
Yeah.
I guess, Texas, if you drive from one end of Texas to the other, I mean, it could take you 2 days.
Yeah,
So I think Texas is just probably too big to have. I mean, you could have your Houston Beer Fest, your San Antonio Beer Fest, your Dallas Beer Fest, your Austin Beer Fest, and then your El Paso Beer Fest. But who's drinking beer between, I don't know, west of Houston to the Panhandle? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
there's
sure
a lot.
it's like Lone Star and like Bud Light, but I mean, usually I think craft beer follows populations of people. Ohio or not Ohio?
I'm trying to think of like San Antonio as a hotbed. Was it San Antonio?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
it
it
was
said.
a hotbed of beer. Like it just doesn't. ring it for me.
San Antonio's a hotbed of like art and culture in general.
That's fair.
So, art and
Were you guys at the festival itself, the conference and the World Beer Cup?
Yes.
What do you guys think of like the out of town competitions like GABF, World Beer Cup, Extreme Beer Fest, those places?
I mean, GABF and World Beer Cup are things that we focus on. We'd like to get our beers there for sure.
Okay.
Craft Brewers Conference, I mean, I love going to that just because that's our trade show. That's our annual trade show. So you get to walk around a place that's as big as Cobo, Hall. Like if you've ever been to a conference there with.
You were there in January.
Yeah, so it's as big as that. It takes you 2 days to walk the floor with all the vendors being there. And then every other year, the World Beer Cup is also there. And then we go to Great American Beer Festival every year. Bring our beers out there. We also have a booth out there, so we're pouring the beers out there as well. And it's a good opportunity to taste, other medal-winning beers because you can go to the floor from last year's beers and go, oh, look, I want to go taste the Kolsch one last year or the Pale or whatever you want to taste.
I understand pushing out, obviously your beer, getting people to try your liquid, but since you guys can't distribute, what's the benefits of having a booth there and not just bringing your beer there? Because obviously I would assume it would cost money to have a booth.
Even if you would pull in one student, it would be worthwhile.
Really?
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it doesn't cost that much to do that. I mean, it's an expensive trip to go travel to, but literally, if it would pay for itself if you've got one student. So, for example, if you win a medal, then that's good PR.
What about locally? Like, where are you guys able to try to recruit students to your program? Like, are there any programs, processes, places to try to get people to come in, like the festivals, maybe?
Yeah, the festivals. I mean, we're always at the Guild Fest, at least 2 of the 4 we go to. So we do some of our PR work there. Then Facebook, obviously, shows like this, from a PR perspective to look for students and word of mouth that helps too, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So what did you pour us, Tim?
This is our college pale ale. It's a ton of Galaxy hops.
This is really good.
Thanks.
It's very delicious.
Another one of my, I guess the beers that are close to my heart.
Too hoppy for Ken.
Yeah.
I'm not a pale guy. It's not bitter. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I love this.
Thank you.
I'm also getting a little bit of sugar-free Red Bull on the back end, so that might be my fault.
I could literally drink this. This is all day.
So it's 4.7 now.
Yeah, 4.7 on that one.
Yeah.
This is the Australian style, this particular batch.
That's what got it.
I love Southern Hemisphere beers too.
Cool.
They're the Southern Hemisphere hops, anyways.
This one last year won a gold in the U.S. Open beer championships, and there's about 6,000 beers entered in that competition. So they didn't tell us how many was in the category, but typically when there's 6,000 beers, there's probably 80 beers in there.
Yeah.
So it was the top pale.
Yeah, this is really good. People should go check you guys out. So when are you guys actually open for the public?
It's gonna be Wednesday.
Wednesday,
You're
5
looking
to
at
7.
5 to 7, and then Saturday.
5 to 9.
That's right.
And
So
where are you guys located?
we're 7 in Haggerty and Livonia.
That's right off of 275,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
So if you're going to IKEA, drop the wife off, tell her you'll pick her up around
You got to
8:30.
backtrack a little bit from
do that.
IKEA, but yeah, sure. Yeah, that would work.
Or it's going to take her 20 minutes to get in IKEA anyways because the parking lot's so big.
Look at that and walk
Yeah, but
through
you're
the
dropping
store.
her off, so you can go take her right to the door.
No, there's a line, honey. I can't get that close.
So I'm looking at the 2019 U.S. Open beer. You guys won for your Belgian Strong, as well as you got a bronze for your Sinful Imperial Porter. And the Sin is spelled C-I-N-N, so I'm assuming that's cinnamon.
That is correct. That was actually one of our student design beers.
Okay.
The advanced class, they wanted to do an Imperial Porter, so with some cinnamon.
Yeah, Jeff. Yep.
Yep. And, those, we kind of pick the beers. The students will design, they'll do 4 or 8 a year, I think, ish. And then after the beer comes out, you go, wow, that's really, really, really good. So I'm like, this one has to go to a competition someplace.
Are they able to take the recipes with them, or do
Sure.
you guys?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. They write it, so
Okay.
it's like a chef. I mean, chef goes to another restaurant, they're going to bring the recipe with them.
Yeah, but
so.
if an electrical engineer goes to Michigan and they make a discovery in one of their classes, it stays as a U of M patent.
That's a
so.
different. It's a patent, though. It's a different.
But isn't, I mean, it's still intellectual property, isn't it? Kind of copyright-ish. Like if I owned a
there's
brewery,
just this fine line right there, though, because you can literally, and it's like making cassoulet or something like that, or that you might have the best cassoulet in the country, and your chef moves to another restaurant and then makes the cassoulet, even though maybe there was a written thing that said they can't make the same dish or whatever at the next place that person goes. You could change one little ingredient by 2 teaspoons, and for example, beer, you could change the ingredient by 3% Munich to 4%, and then it's a different recipe. So,
kiwi hops next time. Kiwi hops in this college pale.
Kiwi, no, Galaxy, man.
I just like the bubble gum. Like the thing is, we always drink hops from either the U.S., the U.K., Germany, South Africa into Africa to an extent. But when you get like an Australian or a New Zealand hop, it completely tastes different than anything else you've ever had.
So Galaxy is.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, it's hard. It's also very expensive and sometimes very hard to get.
I guess we'll just have to all go to Australia.
Yeah.
The Aussie Beer Fest.
I think they got something down there.
I'm sure they have to.
Yeah, and that just
Probably in December, January when it's really
that-
shit cold here.
And that just got back from Australia. She said Melbourne and the places she was going, the beer scene is amazing. And so it's nice to hear halfway around the world, the craft beer scene is doing great in a country that you probably wouldn't expect, I guess.
Well, I believe that a lot of places are seeing not necessarily trying to recreate, but trying to create the buzz that America's had, like U.S. has had with craft breweries. Because if you look at like when we went to Toronto, and I'm looking at craft breweries all the way up to Toronto, like there's so many off the freeway now. And what's great that the Ontario Road Commission will actually post nearly every single exit sign will have if there's a brewery within like 5 or 10 miles of that exit. And all the way up to Toronto, like every 2 or 3 exits, there's a brewery. There's another brewery. What sucked though is that the one place we went to Wavemark, and it said brewery and distillery, and there was no distillery part of that.
Tricky.
Yeah, I know, because I do my best not to drink that much beer when I'm, especially not on the show. Or on the show, I'll do my most beer drinking. Off the show, I do my best to just stick with liquor. And sure enough, like I was so disappointed when I got there. I wound up just having wine and a Doppelbock because they had a Doppelbock there. We got 2 more cans, about 10 minutes to go, so let's try to get at least one more in 5 minutes to go. Damn.
A lager.
Yeah, I do lager.
All these crisp, clean beers over here.
Thank you. We do our best.
So talk to us about the lager, Tim.
This is Tim's recipe, so he's going to...
This is Tim's recipe.
Yes.
Oh, so this is his baby.
This is one of my children.
I see some color on this one.
Yeah, this is the Mandarina lager. It's a Vienna lager. It has Mandarina Bavaria hops in it. Gives it a nice citrus kick at the back end. Very crisp and clean German lager yeast. Very good beer.
Clear.
So the the only Mandarina beer I ever had was with Saugatuck, their IPA, and
I'm
Who poured that?
that was Matt.
your glass isn't
There you go.
isn't clean.
I still think you could pour better.
I didn't like Mandarina and IPA. Do you want to switch then?
No, that's okay.
You can always finger it down.
I could, but I'm not going to because I have a lot of electronics around me, and I don't want to get it wet or
Interesting.
sticky.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting twist on a Vienna.
Where'd you-
4.8%.
This is very caramely for a Vienna.
Yep, there's some crystal in there.
So for those people who are unfamiliar with the Vienna lager, what are some more mainstream Vienna lagers out there?
Are there?
And it might come back. Maybe it'll be the new trend. I don't know, but
I mean, it's kind of like
Trying to
it's
think
similar to an Oktoberfest. So I mean, it's the style is pretty similar to that.
So I just decided to get Beer Advocate.
I don't want to like shit on this, and I hope that this doesn't come out the wrong way. This tastes like a Mick Ultra or Michelob Amberbach.
you know, I kind of compare this beer to it's like a more caramely Yingling with some citrus hops in it.
So you guys
Super
ready
crisp,
for some mainstream
clean.
Vienna lagers?
Yep.
Sam Adams Boston Lager.
Oh, there you go.
Elliot Ness from Great Lakes Brewing.
Great one.
Dos Equis Amber. Abita Amber. Sierra Nevada's got a Vienna style lager. Leinenkugel's Red Lager. So those are some Victoria from Modelo as well. So those are going to be your more mainstream Vienna lagers. Obviously, what's his name makes a lager too? Vienna lager. Travis. Yep, over at Old Nation. Does it have a name, or is it just called Vienna lager?
It's called Vienna lager.
That's fair. It's not called like V43 now.
No, but they did have a release today.
What did they launch today?
They're doing an M43 with well water. So instead of
Untreated water?
so it's well water as opposed to unfigured out water with M43.
Well, we were talking about water earlier with how you were trying to get it close to like a cologne-based water for your Kolsch. Thank you. What is do you feel like water is like one of your most important ingredients because it can change so much, or Tim's just like shaking his head?
I love water. So
Well, it was that I laughed because in my class,
Somebody asked, "What's the importance of it?"
the most important ingredient in beer is yeast.
I mean, water is 90% beer.
Yeah, I say it's the yeast. And then when Rich was teaching the 101 class, he said it was the water, so it was always a running joke. Now Adam's teaching the 101, he agrees with me that it's yeast. So it's like, well, which one is? I mean, you can make beer with bad water, but you can't make beer with yeast that's dead or.
Where do you guys cultivate your yeast from?
We're buying everything from, one of our yeast suppliers. So, yeah.
Didn't know if you guys had like a specific yeast company that you're going through, like White Labs.
Yeah, well,
only,
it's White Labs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, White Labs has been my go-to for years and years.
Have you been to their breweries before?
I have. Tim just got back from Asheville
this week.
and I was there about a year ago.
Did you have the poutine?
No, I saw it though. I
Did
wanted
they
to
have
eat
it
it.
on there? I missed it.
Their poutine was probably some of the best drunk food. Mind you, that was the 6th brewery I hit at that point. But one thing that I love, and I think it definitely kind of leans towards what you guys can do within your group, is the fact of how different, you said yeast is the most important thing, how different yeast can change a beer, because a lot of their beers, they have 2 or 3 versions of that beer with different yeasts.
Yeah, they didn't when Tim was there last week, but they did when I was there. They had one beer with 4 different yeasts. So, in fact, we talked about this at lunch today. Our advanced class is probably going to do that this semester. Brew the same beer. We'll brew a 7-barrel batch and knock out into the 2 little 3.5-barrel fermenters that we got. Put one yeast in one and one yeast in the other.
Well, that seems like something with the net too, with the sensory. Trying to
sure.
flavor profile everything. When I went, they had 2 different alt beers with 2 different yeast profiles. Yeah,
I had like a coconut brown ale, or the other one was some kind of sour that I was not interested in. So
What did you think of Asheville, by the way?
Asheville's cool.
Awesome.
Super cool.
Apparently, my ringer's still on. As
That was part of Asheville, I was thinking for a minute.
When I went to Asheville, and I definitely want to go back next year. The ability to walk from brewery to brewery with ease was probably the best thing ever. Have you been to Asheville?
No, it's on my list. I need to go to Asheville. I need to go to San Diego, and I need to go to Denver.
Yeah, Denver's good. I have not been to San Diego yet.
Just because it's a beer city and it's warm, so we can go there in January, February, where it's shit here.
Have you been to Charlotte before or no?
Yes, many times, yeah.
Like recently?
No, probably a couple years ago.
Okay.
Like Noda, those.
Yeah, Noda's good. They also have that new change of rule for the distribution within the state, which is nice. There's Cheers Charlotte, which I believe is part of the.
Good Charlotte Initiative?
Good Charlotte Initiative. No. Part of the Hopped Up Network, which is what we are part of. So Cheer Charlotte, definitely, like, I've talked to those guys, and being able to, like, go through Charlotte, because I was in South Carolina, and I was, like, halfway between Asheville and Charlotte. It was an hour and a half drive to both. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to go there, I'm going to drink, so I'm just going to stay in town. I was in Spartanburg, and Spartanburg's a really sneaky good craft beer city.
Oh,
I
cool.
was there once. Yeah, there's a good craft beer bar there. This was a while ago, and there was a brewery in town. I didn't even know it was there until I got to town. So
yeah, I hit 5 breweries.
Nice.
I've learned to make sure to ask them to do, like, especially because I usually do flights, and I usually ask them to do half pours for me just because I want to hit more.
Right.
Or I'll do like the things that I just want to try, but I don't want to like drink. I'll just be like, do a small pour for this, the full pours for the rest, or the high ABVs. I make sure they do small pours just because I want to be able to like drive to these places. But there are still times, like I was in Spartanburg and I still Ubered home because by the time I got to the last place, I'm like, nope, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, because you get that sit down and you're like, all right, we're accomplished. When you guys are teaching about beer brewing, like, are you teaching them how to run a brewery or a brew pub? Because you guys are a brew pub, but there's a huge difference between front of the house of a brew pub and a front of the house of like maybe a full-on brewery with food.
Yeah, or really just teach them from the front of the house standpoint. It's probably more of the service side of things, focusing on how to pour beer properly. Your glassware's clean, your lines are clean, etc.
Are you getting a CBS at the end of your certificate too, or
CBS?
Certified beer server?
Cicerone.
Yes, that's part of the
Cicerone.
Part of the Cicerone
Yeah,
program.
that's
the
included.
first level of the.
Yeah,
That's included in the program.
that's
actually.
part of it.
Really?
Yeah.
The beer server, you get that in the class.
My ex had taken the certified beer server, and it was just an online test. And
Yep.
it was,
Yeah, super
on.
easy.
Yep.
Even I passed it.
Yeah, it didn't seem too complicated, but I know there are some places, like I think Hopcat requires you to have it to even work there. I know 8 Degrees Plato. I know he doesn't need it, but Zatuna Liquor, Jack Zatuna over there knows everything about.
I bet you he has one.
I doubt he has one. He'd probably be like, "Why am I going to spend money on this?"
Because he's vain enough to want to hang it up in his office saying he does have one.
I've never even been in his office.
Or in his, by his, on the liquor rack, Jack.
Yeah, go check out Zatuna Liquor over on Rochester Road, just south of M59. Actually, we did a couple years ago a scholarship for you guys. We got a couple people in there, some money in there, so that was really, really nice. Is anybody are there any scholarships out there that people can apply for that might like give them that boost of energy to go apply or start?
Just within the college. I mean, the college has financial aid, and there's outlooks. There's ways for them to, ease the pain of the price. It's not really that expensive to go through the program. So
I love this being a lager, by the way.
Nice.
So before we go, because I know you have to go at 7:45, I do apologize. I had my phone blocking the time. But
The lunatics.
What's that?
The lunatics.
So before we take a quick break, I know you guys are heading out. I'm gonna pass these to you guys
to just have a small sip.
to finish the night. This is from the Century Distilleries in Alberta, Calgary, Alberta. There you go. It is a White Owl whiskey. So we're gonna start ending the show every single week. We're gonna call it the final shot. This is your chance to tell everyone where you guys are located at, your socials, how to get to it. So I'll say Lastrovia, Slanja,
Cheers.
drink,
Cheers.
freedom, America.
America.
So where can they find you guys online, at school, physical?
So obviously, Schoolcraft College has their own Facebook page and Twitter, but the program is Schoolcraft. I don't know what is the Facebook page. I just saw
Schoolcraft College and
Just
it's a brewing and
brewing
distillation.
distillation
So
technology.
the / is SC Brewing and Distillation.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then,
So the full name is Schoolcraft College Brewing and Distillation Technology.
Yes.
right, and then
It's a long one.
American Harvest Brew Pub is the other Facebook page for the front of the house.
All right, and you guys are open Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Correct. Yep.
So, and those change in the summertime. We usually have another extra, maybe
Usually
another
Thursdays.
in the summer. I'd encourage people to that's our medium for when the pub's open because, for example, Labor Day weekend we're not open.
Yeah.
Not unusual for a lot of people. So that's where they would see that information.
Yeah, $9 growler fills too, so it's really
Yeah, and
good price for a growler fill.
it is. And our 6-packs or 4-packs of 16 ounces are $9.
Wow.
Damn.
So, you're talking about. I mean, we still make money off of it at that price, but we're not.
You're not there making. You're there to stay in the black, not the red. So you're
Correct.
pricing it for the black and not pricing it to
Yeah.
make a profit to take home. We appreciate you guys coming on out. Obviously,
Thanks.
Yeah,
check them out. You guys are going to be at the Fall Beer Fest.
Yes,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So you're not the UP one, the Detroit one.
correct.
All right, so go check them out. Detroit Fall Beer Fest over in Easter Market. There we go. I believe it's the last Friday and Saturday of October.
And you can stop by Easter Market Brewing Company and redeem your free beer token from the My Beer Box, which they were the August beer of the month.
The August beer of the month for My Beer Box.
Yeah, so you go check them out and finally redeem your free beer while you're there.
Did the beer box come with big boy pants?
Yes, it likely came with big boy pants.
All right, we're gonna be right back. Better on Draft Podcast.
I'm headed for the city, trouble in my mind. I'm way too young and pretty for things to be unkind. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then, gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. I'm headed for the city, see what I can unwind. Always gotta start it to bit make it in this life. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then, gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 These eyes ain't looking back home. No, I'm now by myself on this road.
We are back. Better on Draft Podcast 190. I don't know what you're looking at. That's the Loco Coco Cream Ale from American Harvest. Not a fan?
You're gonna love it.
I'm gonna love it.
You're gonna love it. This is your favorite flavor and my least favorite flavor all at the same time.
That's a weird flavor. That tastes like a cream ale. That's for sure.
No, that's a coconut ale.
I mean, I got the coconut for sure, but it tastes like a Genesee cream with coconut.
I don't like the flavor of coconut. It's overly perfumey and just like I feel a texture in my mouth that isn't really there. And maybe that's what she said, but it doesn't make sense. It's just perfumatic. I feel like I'm eating like for everything you say you don't like sweets. I feel like I'm eating a sweet, like an almond or a mound right now. Like coconut shaving chocolate bar.
So Matt,
Yes, Ken?
I want to get to know you a little bit.
Oh, Jesus. Please don't.
What is your hangover cure? Because like when you're going in
Yep.
for a heavy drinking night, the next morning we're not young, we're not spry anymore. We're not. My hangovers are. I don't get the headaches anymore.
I get the headaches.
I get the body shakes and like the heart beating faster. Like my body has more of a hangover than my head.
So when I have those, there's no escaping those. I get the cold sweats and I get the shakes a little bit too. My standard hangover cure is an extra large greasy breakfast.
So the bacon.
Usually it's
eggs.
the biggest, greasiest omelet I can find. And the one I've been going to most recently is the Euro omelet. So it's got feta cheese, it's got Euro meat, hash browns, everything you probably don't want to consume. But it's just greasy and it's fulfilling and it'll sit in you and it'll shoot right through. And usually that's what wakes me up is the that 10 to 15 minutes of concentration.
Yeah, I obviously when I know I'm going too deep but right before I go to bed, I'll always do Excedrin migraine because why not do a blood thinner while you're drinking heavily? It's not a smart idea, folks. Don't do it. So like I rarely ever get a headache anymore because of it. But whenever I'm hungover, like I get this feeling like all my organs have dropped down out of my body. And like I get the shakes, but as opposed to having a pounding headache and not being able to do anything, I'll take that over anything every day.
I just lose all the energy in my body. So I take a medication that doesn't give me headaches or doesn't let me have headaches. And I actually got
I need that medication.
We'll talk off the air because I think it's for a similar condition we both have. I got a patch once at one of the beer fests we went to that says, use this patch the next time you heavily drink and it'll do whatever you won't get a headache. Didn't work. I just woke up and I was scratching my backside wondering what the hell was here. And it was a patch. So have you ever tried any of those like Sure Shots or those hangover cure morning after?
I haven't tried the Sure Shots.
You ever tried like the chaser pills from?
You know what I want to do, and I think they have one in Berkeley or Birmingham. But they have like an IV drip.
Yeah, they have an IV. They have IV bars of the new hotness.
Yeah, I want to try that one day. See if maybe that's a.
You can get those IV bags at like a CVS or Walgreens, and do the same thing. It's just, are you brave enough to like, plug yourself?
To be honest, no, I'm not.
I was watching Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, one of the shows that I DVR every week. And it was, of all people, Ryan Lochte.
Okay.
And he was with his wife at one of those establishments. And apparently whatever he was at, he had a drip bag of both saline solution and B12. But I guess the bag that he had wasn't regulated or wasn't up to snuff with the U.S. Swimming or USADA or whoever it was.
Yeah.
So he got like a 14-month ban for putting B12 drip bags into his body.
I was going to say, I'm curious when this was because obviously you got summer Olympic qualifications coming out end of this year, early next year.
Well,
he's retired.
He's not retired. He actually just won the national championships of swimming in his event recently. So this was probably a year and a half ago.
Okay.
But it's just crazy. Like, so I talked to, whatever you want to call it, a girl that was in the military. I think she was stateside, and they would go out, and she was in the Corps, the medic situation, and she would basically at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, she would go around and plug everybody up. So they would go to the bar, she would plug them up, and they would always fall asleep with a drip in them. And I always have that thing, like, I sleep on my stomach or my side.
Okay.
I can't sleep on my back for whatever reason. So I could never imagine sleeping with a needle in me because I'm just going to start leaking everywhere. Or I'm just going to move so many times that it's going to fall over the place.
Yeah, I could never. First of all, I could never poke myself. Second of all, like I've always my big fear. So my sister has like light veins or whatever they call them. So
rolling veins.
Yeah. So like when she goes to get blood drawn, she gets poked like 8 to 10 times before they finally find a vein. So like that, the first time I ever had to get poked a second time was like the worst experience ever. So I can only imagine how much like just the pain she goes through to get it. Like, and especially me, like you can see, like I got poked a couple days ago and I'm bruised. Like that's what happens to me because my body is weak.
When I was a kid, I was probably about 16 or 17, maybe, yeah, in that age. I had a situation where I had to go to the hospital, and it took the nurses like 8, 9, 10 times to poke me in my left arm to where it looked like I was on smack for a couple of weeks. And they realized they couldn't, so they had to call in an anesthesiologist from a different wing of the hospital to come get me. And it was frustrating because you got a massive headache and you're just laying there in the ICU, and then you got people plugging you, and they can't figure it out. So,
yeah, I'm just trying to do something a little bit with the show itself. Speaking of like that kind of thing, we have another sponsor for our show. Not Zatouna Liquor, but North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan. You ever been there?
Yeah, and they will be at our Jimmy John's Beer Fest.
The Jimmy John's Beer Fest, that's right. So that when is the Jimmy John's Beer Fest?
October 12th. It's the second Saturday in October.
So 2 weeks before the Fall Beer Fest.
Yep, and we already have about 28 breweries lined up. So
how many did we have last year?
We had 28 or 29 as well, but it took us a lot longer to get there. So we might even eclipse the 30 brewery mark. It was a lot easier because we just put out a call to our friends, and they all just said, yeah, sure, let us in. It's a lot more quaint than other beer fests, I think. Last year we got maybe 1,100 people, so it's not, packed like a lot of the other beer fests. It's still relatively nice weather.
It's also the beer fest that I always say to bring your friend that isn't hunting for the whales, but like wants to try craft beer or get into craft beer. This is their opportunity to try a bunch of beer in a fun atmosphere, live bands,
cider and mead,
not beer only.
So
seltzers.
I'm sure there will be a couple of breweries that bring seltzers or cideries or meaderies that bring a seltzer style.
Maybe I'll be able to drink the whole time and not.
I'm sure you will. We'll put out the Ken signal. We'll put if it's keto approved, we'll put a K next to the name. That way, you can go there and drink it.
I mean, I'm totally down for that. A keto approved marker on the menu.
The GFs, you see the V's, you see the spicy peppers, and then you see the K's for Ken.
I'm definitely for that. So we're going through the news section. We don't have Robert here, but we do have a little bit of news to talk about. And one of the things that, obviously, you being in the sales industry, you sold Budweiser, didn't you?
No, I sold Miller.
You sold Miller.
I sold against Budweiser.
You sold against Budweiser.
Very adamantly.
So Budweiser has overtaken Bud Light to become the most valuable beer brand in the world. It's worth $7.5 billion.
Which I thought would have already happened. I mean, they've always had the Clydesdales. They've always had, light beer is a relatively new concept. Light beer's only been around since the mid-'70s.
Yeah, but light beer, obviously Bud Light and Miller Lite have outsold Budweiser for so long because obviously this is the brand. This isn't sales. This is the brand itself.
Yeah, but Bud Light is made by Budweiser.
Bud Light is made by Anheuser-Busch. Remember, Bud Light is the anti-Budweiser.
I don't know if I've ever thought of it that way.
So Diet Pepsi is the anti-Pepsi.
I don't know.
It's the same company, same brand.
I've always thought of Bud Light as just the light Bud. Like Bud Ice. It's not like Bud Ice is against Budweiser. I guess maybe I'm wrong. I've always
I've always felt, now obviously Bud Light is in competition with Miller Lite, Coors Light, Labatt Light, whatever other light beers you want to talk about. But in the same sense, it's still an anti-Budweiser because their promotion is lower calories or lower carbs or lower anything. And they're not saying lower carbs against Miller Lite. They're saying lower carbs against their regular lager competition, which is Budweiser.
But I get that. But my thought is Budweiser is a brand that's been around for 100 years. Bud Light's only been around since the late 70s. So we're talking one brand spun off the other. So I would have always thought that the Budweiser brand was just more prevalent everywhere.
Well, I mean, look at how much Bud Light gets sold versus Budweiser. I mean, Bud Light.
In the States, though, in South America and in other countries, Budweiser is a bigger seller than Bud Light.
Why is that, you think?
Because Anheuser-Busch, I believe, and I again, back to the real sports thing. There's a law that if your country hosts the World Cup, you have to allow alcohol sales in the stadiums where the World Cup is taking part in. So, like for instance, Brazil, I think they were the most recent place to have the Men's World Cup, anyways.
Probably, I think so.
No, it wasn't. I don't think so. They did in 2016.
I'm looking it up right now for you.
Anyways, so when Brazil did, they hosted the World Cup. Brazil has a ban on alcohol sales inside of stadiums, but they had to pass a law called the Bud Law.
2018 was Russia.
Oh, okay. So just using Brazil, because I've heard this.
2014 was Brazil.
So Brazil had to pass what they call the Bud Bill, allowing alcohol sales inside of stadiums because Budweiser is so entrenched in FIFA. So, and they lead with Budweiser, and so if they have 10 taps, five of them are Budweiser, 3 of them are Bud Light, and then 2 are going to be other AB products. So you're always going to see more Budweiser than Bud Light.
Well, let's kind of go over because we only have numbers from 2017. The 28 numbers should come out in October, actually, of this year. But the number one selling beer in the hold on, let's see this.
It's not going to be the world. It's going to be this country.
Yeah, this
right?
is going to be the United States. Number one selling beer, Bud Light.
Yep.
What do you think number 2 is?
Miller Lite.
It's number 4.
Is it either Budweiser or Coors Light?
It's Coors Light's number 2. Budweiser's number 3. Here's my fun one. 5 and 6 are pretty good. What's number 5 or 6?
One's Corona, one's Heineken.
You got Corona at 5. Mick Ultra is number 6.
Yeah.
Heineken's all the way down to 11. You think you could fill out the top 10?
Is there another Latin? Maybe Victoria,
Nope.
Chang, or Tsingtao?
Nope. These are, remember, in America.
Oh, okay. PBR.
Nope.
Damn. Yingling.
Nope. 3 are Anheuser-Busch. 1 is Constellation.
Modelo.
Modelo Especial, yes.
And then you said 3. So we have Busch Light,
Busch Light, yep.
Natty,
Natty, Natural Light, yep.
and Michelob. So which one? What number am I missing?
Natty Light is 8. Modelo is 7. Busch Light is 9.
So I'm missing 6.
You're missing number 10. Number 6 was Mick Ultra.
I'm missing number 10, which is a Budweiser product. You said
Anheuser-Busch, yep. Sold 4.7 million barrels
Is it
in
Busch Diesel?
2017. Is that the standard Busch?
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. Bush Full, yeah, Bush Diesel.
Yep. So if you look at number 1, which is Bud Light, 33 million. Coors Light, number 2, 16.5 million.
And see, I think there's a lot of companies like this. I'm not going to mention any of the others, but I think Bud Light is a marketing company that sells beer. I don't think it's a beer company that markets. I think there's a giant mortgage company in our backyard that's the same way. It's a company that markets that happens to sell a certain product. Does that make sense?
I mean, yes.
I don't see Bud Light as anything more than trying to be more of a.
I mean, you're selling for 1 Bud Light is for every 2 Coors Lights,
2 Coors
which
Light,
is the number 2.
2 Bud Lights for every 1 Coors Light. Yeah.
2 Coors Lights for every 1 Bud Light.
No, the other way around.
No, 2 Coors Lights sold for every 1 Bud Light sold.
No, 2 Bud Lights sold for every 1 Coors Light.
No.
Yes,
There's 33 million Bud Lights.
Yes.
So and 16.5 million Coors Lights.
Correct.
So I need to double Coors Light to get to Bud Light.
Oh, what I'm saying is for every 1 Coors Light sold, there's 2 Bud Lights sold. What you're saying is
I'm backwards.
To break even. You
Yes,
need
to break
2
even.
Coors Lights. So I'm actually surprised that Miller Lite's so far down at 4.
Miller Lite at number 4 is at 13.1 million.
And then what's Budweiser? So it's like
13.3.
So that's kind of a really small cluster for 2, 3, 4. And then is 5? You said 5.
5 is Corona. 5 is the highest rated beer that actually had a net positive from 2016 to 2017.
I'm surprised how closely clustered 2, 3, and 4 are, and how far ahead 1 is.
Yes. Corona is at number 5 at 8.7, with Mick Ultra at number 6 at 7.7, gaining 21.3% share.
Mick Ultra.
Mick Ultra.
I want to know how much. Here's where. Do you think that next year, or even in, I guess it'll probably be 2020, that they'll start including White Claws on that list? Or Truly, I think White Claw has. Do you feel like White Claw has stolen the brand from the seltzers? Do you feel like they're the Band-Aid, the Kleenex of the spiked seltzers?
I mean, I don't know too much. In regards to White Claw and Truly Seltzer sold the equivalent of 1.4 million cases.
And then the other one was gallons, you said, right?
Barrels.
Barrels. Okay, so they're not anywhere close.
So it equates to 102,000 barrels, and that is. Oh, hold on. It just says the week of July 4th.
I mean, if they could do that consistently, then yeah, that would crush.
I mean, that if that was consistent, that'd be 5.2 billion. 5.2 million, excuse me.
Which would put them at like 6 or 7 on that list that we were just talking about, wouldn't it be?
It would put them at 5.2, would put them at number 9.
Which is crazy for a 3-year product.
Yeah.
4-year product.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I can't remember what Mike's Hard Lemonade was when it first came out, because obviously I was a little too young.
It's still not there, though. I mean, you would think.
Well, no, not at that level, but maybe in comparison, it might be that much bigger. Because obviously,
Mick Ultra is pretty new.
When did Mick Ultra come out?
I'd say early 2000s. It hasn't been around that long. It's younger than Mike's Hard Lemonade. Now, have you drank yourself the seltzers?
Have I drank myself the seltzers?
Yeah. Have you had all of the seltzers yet? Have you had the White Claws and the Trulies?
I've had.
I know you've had the Clear Coasts.
Clear Coast, Bon and Vive, White Claws, Trulies. I haven't had the Atwater one yet.
You don't need to.
Yeah, I don't need to. I haven't had. I'm trying to think of the others. White Claw is usually my go-to, or Truly's my second go-to for beers. Like when I'm on my trips for work, like I'll try to like just buy like a 12-pack from Whole Foods, and then like a Mix and Mac 12-pack, throw it in my refrigerator, and have a couple a night just to.
So what do you think about the new seltzer craze? How do you think it's a fad? Do you think it's taking over? What's your 2 cents on the hard seltzers?
I love the hard seltzers. I think it's a great opportunity for me to drink. I think it was preemptive to what we're seeing now with. I just poured myself a glass, so you got to give me a second to.
Communist.
I was drinking the Coco Loco cream ale from American Harvest that you weren't drinking.
Too much cocoa.
In regards to the hard seltzers, I think it was ahead of its time. I think it started prior. Nobody really noticed. And I think the huge thing, especially being on keto, is not necessarily the fact that, like, when I started keto, the amount of keto snacks were not that big and prevalent. But now that they are, everyone's starting to come out with, like, Dogfish Head came out with a low-cal beer. Two Hearted's coming out with Lighthearted, which is a low-cal beer.
Which they also have now. They have a Double Hearted too, so they're going both ways on it.
Yeah, well, their Double Hearted is one of their big releases that they do, kind of like a.
I've never heard of it. Is
Uberon.
Is this not a new thing?
It's been tap only. It's never been a can or a bottle.
Hashtag boycott bells.
Big boy pants. With the
Andre Patton pants.
you kind of threw me off my statements. So with White Claw though, or with hard seltzers itself, like I think Perrin was ahead of the game. With the fact like everyone's not necessarily going for the low cal beer, they're going for the low carb beer now.
Sure.
And you had noticed it years ago because you were selling Miller Lite against Mick Ultra,
which
and
is,
you were
less carbs, still more.
And
alcohol.
that's the thing is that was a huge seller for you. You were able to sell Miller Lite against Mick Ultra because you were calling low carbs. But now people aren't necessarily.
No carbs.
What's that?
Now it's no carbs.
No carbs.
Yeah. So White Claw, truly, there's no carbs in it. It's only sugars that you're fighting.
Yeah, alcohol sugars, which is they're in the keto world. How your ketosis works, alcohol sugars is digested and metabolized different than standard carbohydrates, which is why a lot of people are like, "Oh, it still has alcohol sugars in it," but it's a lot different when you're doing it. Obviously, if you overindulge in anything, it's a bad thing. But when you're working on keeping your body in ketosis, having regular carbs, whether they're liquid or food, you're going to ruin your ketosis, have to start over, 2 or 3 days. Whereas when you're doing White Claws or liquor, which I've been prone to do now, it doesn't reset your body for ketosis.
I remember when White Claw started, I was still in the beer selling world, and we had every Friday we would bring in a supplier, and they would say, "Hey, sample our goodies." And I remember getting the White Claw, and at that point I wasn't much of a sparkling water person, but I was like, "Wow, this is like Sprite, really." And I remember, we had a forced rollout, which everybody always does, where, everybody has to carry their, you have to sell in the 3 flavors of White Claw. And at that point, there wasn't even Truly. It was just black cherry White Claw, lime, and I think it was grapefruit. You have to carry all 3. You have to convince 80% of your customers to sell it. And when they came out in February, which, believe it or not, is not the best time for, White Claws and sparkling waters. So they get buried in the shelves. But I took one home. I took home a 6-pack, and this is right before I started stopped selling beer and started getting into my other career. And I was just playing video games one day, and I got off at, early in the day, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to just try these. Oh, okay, these aren't that bad. And before I knew it, I had drank all 6 of them, probably within an hour, maybe an hour and a half the most. And I got up at I stood up off my couch, and it was 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. And I was like, wait, I'm drunk. This is heavy. So it's a lot like my experience with the Berry Weiss from Leinekugel. You don't even know that it's alcoholic till you try to do any sort of motor skills.
Yeah, for me, the most recent Sunday, I had my first fantasy football draft, which we did. I don't know if you've ever done this, but this is the first time I ever did it. But it was not an auction via a website; it was a live auction.
I've never done an auction, but I would be interested in trying that.
It was a lot of fun.
You get a salary cap too, right?
You get a salary cap. Everyone did not like me because I didn't draft a kicker or a defense. Because I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll draft him later, or I'll pick him up later. With that in mind, though, I was just going to town on these Trulies, not paying attention. Because when I would hear oh, it's not my guy, or a guy that I would be interested in, I'm just drinking and not worrying about it. Because that's the thing is that for every person that gets called up, especially for the first 3 or 4 rounds, it takes a little bit of time because everyone's bidding up. And
so in an auction, do you start with the most desired player, or does everybody nominate a player?
Everyone nominates a player,
okay.
So you can nominate whoever the hell you want at that point, at the beginning, middle, or end. So I don't have to nominate for the first draft.
You could have nominated Matt Stafford.
I could have nominated. Yep, I could have nominated.
Well, you have to put $1 on it.
I still have to put $1 on it. But now, am I going to get Matt Stafford for $1 out of my $200 spending spree?
That's not a bad deal.
Or people are going to start bidding and maybe overspending money on their initial bids.
I think we should probably do that next time. But it is what it is. I would like to be involved in that. I've never gotten into it. I'm the online guy. I'm always busy.
Yeah, this was the first time we've ever done it. So we've done it through ESPN's online auction draft. But we did it live, in person, so people were calling out bids and bets and stuff. And we had a few.
You have a little
paddle? We didn't have a paddle, but we had a few double bets, the same amount, same time, people calling it out. But most of the time, it was whoever could get the next bet higher would be the one that got it, because it wasn't like if the winning bid was 55, it wasn't like we both said 55 at the same time. We both said 45, so somebody said 46 or 48.
Sure.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. But again, going back to your thing, the motor skills and being on top of things, I was probably 8 or 9 hard seltzers in, not even realizing how fast I was drinking them.
And then you go to the restroom to urinate, and then you put your hand on the wall, and you realize, wow, the wall's a lot further away than I thought it was. And then you have to correct yourself. No,
I also had a designated driver, so at that point,
thanks, Julia.
It was not my girlfriend, thankfully. It was my buddy's wife.
Thanks, buddy's wife.
My buddy John drove us, and then his wife was going to drive us back. So I knew full well that I didn't have to need to drive.
So do you have a favorite seltzer flavor? Like there's huge
Lime.
Lime. They say lime is for people who really like Missionary.
I mean lime is just the easy go-to safe bet whenever anything I'm trying, the lime has always been decent. Where like I don't like the black cherry from White Claw, but the cherry or black cherry from Truly is pretty good.
See, I'm the opposite on the cherries. I think the cherry from Sam Adams or Truly is underwhelming, whereas the black cherry from White Claw is meh. Lime, I think Truly has a better lime. I think where the game changer is the grapefruit for me.
Grapefruit's pretty good.
Grapefruit is my thing.
I haven't had a flavor that I would never not buy again. But usually what sucks is you can't get the high count cans, like a 12 pack in a single flavor. You can only get them not at Whole Foods. That's what.
Oh, yeah.
That's usually where I'm buying, because usually when I'm on my trip for work or whatever, like I have a per diem, and we get alcohol for our per diem. And I fought and won on the fact that like people would go out and buy like a $15 cocktail. I'm like, well, I'll just buy this $15 12 pack, and it's the exact same thing. And I'm not going to go buy a $15 12 pack tomorrow. I'm just going to have this one. And that's, when you can, especially for those of you out there that are doing sales or thinking of doing sales or traveling or anything like that, if you can fight for the reason why you're doing something, you're going to win every single time.
Every single time.
Like we get a 60-day per diem, but my first day I usually spend $80 to $100 on groceries. But then I only spend like $20 a day the next 5 days. And they're like, oh, well, okay, well, your average is this, so therefore we don't care.
I used to be, when I did get a per diem, I got $150 a day per diem. And, oh, you just hit the bell.
I hit a bell? There's a bell there? Oh. All right, that's enough.
You're going to really like that, that's why. So this is the first rule of Stout Club from River Rouge Brewing Company. And I don't have another cup until I finish this.
Well, that's not my fault.
So I would get $150 a night per diem in the job I would do.
$150?
$150 a night, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So they would give me the $150 regardless of what I did.
See, I don't get the...
So I would get a $60 a night Red Roof Inn.
Oh, you get a per diem for everything. Mine's just food.
Oh, no. So I would travel. I would put the hotel on my credit card, and they would reimburse me.
Yep.
So I would get a car. I would rent a car.
Yep.
Get the shittiest hotel I could that didn't have ants or rats in it, and then I would bank the rest of it. Like I used to, I would drive 200 miles, and instead of putting that 200 miles on my car, I would go rent a car because it would cost me $40 to rent the car that day, and I would get 50 cents a mile for the entire way.
So River Rouge Brewing, we actually had them on 2 years ago with Eddie, episode 105. This is called the First Rule of Stout Club. I can smell that the entire time I drank it.
So this is a blend of his peanut butter stencil stout.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm getting the stencil.
But it's also a blend of his Motor City gas stout.
Really?
Yeah. And then what he also did was he had 9 barrels left of residuals of his Motor City gases, half bourbon, half whiskey, or rye whiskey. And he put those all together, too. This guy's
a great blend.
Yeah.
To be honest, it really tames the peanut butter to where it's not overpowering. Because there's a lot of peanut butter stuff.
Peanut butter, but you don't taste it.
Exactly. You're smelling it. Like the whole time, like you lift it to your nose, like you smelled peanut butter.
Where am I going with this one?
Yeah. But you're not getting like the full peanut butter in your face. Like a lot of these beers that you drink that are peanut butter stouts, like it just tastes like you're eating a peanut butter sandwich with a little bit of beer.
Yeah, I can see where you're getting with that. I just think it's like a light peanut butter stout. I think
peanut
this
butter
is
light.
They should have called like peanut butter. But I really like this. Like from a guy who didn't like dark beers like last year, I could drink a shit ton of these.
So I'm looking at, because kind of like following the White Claw. White Claw was only introduced in 2016.
Yeah, like I said, I was in those
That
meetings.
is ridiculous. Like Mike's Hard Lemonade was introduced in 1999.
Believe it, yeah.
And that is, what's the name of that? Mike Anthony?
Mike Anthony Beverages.
I mean, it's the trend to go right now. I don't think it's going anywhere.
But like, look at LaCroix. You know, LaCroix's been killing it for 4 or 5 years, which that seems kind of useless.
Well, it got to the point where people were making their own LaCroix. Like there's a Kroger brand LaCroix.
And I drink the shit out of it. And I have a something called a Soda Stream, which is a water carbonator, and it's costs you $30. You get 3 like 32-ounce bottles. You put your own water in it, and then you just fizz it up and you drink it. And that was, you know, fun and exciting too for a minute.
So I'm looking, and I'm gonna ask you. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
The first year LaCroix was made.
Was made or was like
Was made.
I want like my logic tells me 2010. My heart says like 1987,
You gotta go a little earlier than that.
1993.
Well, 1987, if I'm saying earlier.
Oh, so 1984.
81.
Yeah, and it caught on the last 5 years, but its sales have gone like spiked.
Yeah, well, I think everyone was looking for a something different that wasn't a soda, because I think a lot of people are starting to get away from the sugary drinks.
It's sugar. Like, and the aspartame, I think, is the new thing. Is people are scared of the artificial sweeteners and all of the shit that's in like diet pops.
What's your opinion on aspartame?
I don't even have an opinion. I don't even know what really aspartame is.
It's just the sweetener in diet pops. I mean,
I guess I don't know. Like, people always like, oh, this is bad for you.
it's gonna cause like heart attacks, and
I don't have a long opinion of myself. I don't think I'm going to be around for more than 20 to 30 more years. So like when it comes to people like I'm going to live till I'm 80 or 100, I don't have that grand design of myself. I think I'll probably clock out in the mid to late 60s. So what I do for the next 30 years, I don't think it's going to really ruin me one way or the other. So if I drink too much Diet Pepsi, I just choose not to, because I don't.
it's like the Dennis Leary theory of living, because like, oh, the cigarette's gonna take a day off your life, and then it's the worst days of your life anyways.
Or is it the Andrew Dice Clay thought that when he's sitting there smoking a cigarette and someone's like, oh, you're giving me secondhand smoke, and he's like, well, I guess I picked the right hand to smoke out of, didn't I? But I guess I've never really considered like what's gonna happen when I'm. It's like Mickey Mantle, you know. You see that? You saw the movie 61, didn't you? When you were like 13, like everybody else in the neighborhood.
I don't remember the movie 61.
It's a movie called 61.
Okay.
It was a movie about 1961 where Roger Maris hit 61 home runs for the Yankees.
Okay.
And they actually filmed it at Old Tiger Stadium. Billy Crystal did. It was an HBO movie, one of their first movies. And Mickey Mantle was a chronic like drunk and abuser, because he's like, hey, all of my dad and my grandfather died of like non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 50s. Now, mind you, my grandma just died at like 94, so I have pretty decent genes. But
You got Thomas Jane playing Mickey Mantle.
yep, it's a Barry Pepper playing Roger Maris.
Yep.
It was a powerhouse cast.
I don't recognize anybody on this list.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I'm definitely looking, and I don't recognize a single Christopher McDonald. I know who that is. Shooter McGavin.
Yep.
Shooter McGavin is Mel Allen.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast.
That's a good movie. Check it. I mean, if it's on HBO Go, I was watching Succession this week.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely check it out in regards to just to check it out for sure.
But yeah, I guess I don't know. I've never really thought about aspartame or stevia, or I went to my cousin's weird.
Yeah, but look at the shit that we not necessarily eat, but the stuff that we drink, like the alcohol and stuff. Like aspartame ain't that much. It's just chemically made. I think it's just got a name that I think a lot of people get scared of.
But I guess the things that we drink, the things that we ingest, our grandparents ingest them in like car plants, or they had mesothelioma because they worked in car facilities. So like,
there's a settlement about that.
yeah, even if you're a smoker, you can still make money. But like the things that like, I guess, I don't know. I just feel like our generation, we're just doing stupider shit in putting the same kind.
Well, our generation doesn't have the scientific results. Like, if you look at smoking, people knew a
the
long
first person
time
died
ago.
of vaping today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from a lung contusion from vaping.
Oh, I know. Like people had like popcorn lung and stuff from that. But in regards to think of the things that my big thing, and obviously the thing that will probably kill me is all the monsters that I drink, the energy
your heart
drinks.
Will stop. Your heart will stop.
You know, I definitely overindulge in monsters because my schedule is not the same weekly, and I'm also like I flip between Pacific time and Eastern time like it's a fucking coin flip. But for me, like trying to master without caffeine and without energy drinks is probably like I'll probably be the one that they study. Like my organs are going to be donated, and they'll be studying me on my 3 white monsters a day.
It's a bitch. So I have a Keurig machine, and I'm trying to be environmental and not get the K cups. I get the pod that I put in coffee, and then I put it into my K cup. But it's like a goddamn Toyota Ford thing where everything's not compatible, like Android versus. So you got to like beat the shit out of the pod into the K cup machine, and every now and again it tells you it doesn't want to work, and then it tells you then everything works for a while, and then it stops working again. To where like this was the end of it. Like this week, the pod top came off of the pod, so it doesn't recognize its ass from the hole in the ground. So I haven't been on coffee in like 2.5 days, and I've just been beating the fuck down. Like my Thursday yesterday was sun up to sundown crazy. And yeah, it's just been like I have not stopped running around working, and I haven't slept. And it's like the one thing in my life that keeps me going is coffee, and it's been dead. So I feel you, man. It's
well, you know how to make Matt happier? Go to mibeerbox.com and subscribe to the Michigan Beer Box. Get a shirt, get a glass, get both. Check it out. I know we were a little bit late for this year, this month, but we're going to be getting a Better on Draft, some swag in there here very, very soon because I'm going to be buying some swag because thanks to the good folks at Schoolcraft College, we're going to be doing some stuff for you guys.
Yeah, and I mean, we always, you always get free beer in the box, and
at the brewery. The beer does not come to you,
but it gives you an incentive to go to the brewery. However, you also have the show. You let the show go to different places. You let us go do fun shit when you subscribe to My Beer Box. So it's mybeerbox.com. We'll have a promo code.
mibeerbox.com.
Promo code DRAFT from now until Labor Day will get you 20% off of a 3 or 6 month subscription.
Oh, damn.
So code DRAFT.
Because it's better on
Draft.
Draft.
That's why we give you the beer tokens, so you can get the beer on draft, not in a lousy can.
And speaking of upcoming events, we're going to be at the UP Beer Fest. You're pouring for Jamex?
I'm pouring for Jamex.
Jamex is making up. That's awesome.
I might be pouring for other places as well. You can come find me.
Going to go try to play some Coob?
If it's there, yeah. I'm not going to wait an hour and a half in line for a Coney dog, though.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
I don't know if we waited an hour and a half, but
it was about an hour
drunk
between waiting in line and getting our food. It was about an hour 15.
I'll also be at probably the I'll definitely be at the Wyndham, the Ramada that Friday, but we'll be at the Ordoc, and if not, for sure at Black Rocks that Friday night. So come out. We might have a small event. So if you're a subscriber to either the show or the podcast or the beer box, come and find us. I'll be wearing some of My Beer Box swag. We'll buy you a beer.
We're going to be at Burning Foot Beer Fest tomorrow.
That's a nice drive.
It is a nice drive. I'm not going to be there.
Is Ed going there?
Yes, Edwin Norton's going to be there. All right, he's going to be there. Go check it out. I believe he's going with his brother.
Wife.
I don't know if his wife. I think it's his brother for this one.
Yeah, Teddy.
Yeah,
They look like twins.
Do they?
They look like identical twins.
I've never met his brother, but we're going to be at Burning Foot Beer Fest. We'll also be at the Jimmy John's Festival because we're hosting it.
We are co-hosting. We'll be doing fun shit in the front yard again.
Yep, and as we make our way to episode 200, we're going to be at the Detroit Fall Beer Festival.
We're not doing our show there, are we?
We are not going to be doing a show there.
That's $199 that week.
Somewhere around there. It depends on when
it
depends on when our weeks on and weeks off are. And then we're also scheduling, which I'm going to tell you for the first time.
Oh, I know.
We're going to be doing an on-site show.
Where now?
Griffin Claw for the Flying Buffalo release.
Oh, the front butts.
Yes.
For is that the day after Thanksgiving?
No, because the Flying Buffalo release is actually like at the beginning of November.
Okay.
We just waited till the end, the Black Friday, to do
Well,
it.
that's when they distroed them.
That might be the case. Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna need an Uber. There.
Yes, we all will need an Uber. That's for sure.
Man.
So we're
that show
gonna
be sponsored by Uber. Can we just call them now?
I'll call them now. That's going to do it for us, Better on Draft. Matt, thank you so much for sticking around.
It's been a
and
pleasure.
enjoy that beer. I've got a nice glass of whiskey.
God damn it.
On the white shorts.
These go through the wash more than any of other clothes I have.
And that's going to do it. Ferndale, guys, first of all, iTunes. Go leave us a review, a like, a love, 5 stars, whatever you want to do. We
1 star's
appreciate
fine.
that. I mean, 5 stars is better.
I tell you what, if you do a 1-star review, I will screenshot it, make fun of you, and tell you how funny that your 1-star is.
Okay.
Because I was looking at another website today, and they were their marketing strategy was showing all of their 1-star reviews, and I thought it was humorous.
Subscribe to us. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, everything that you can get. Obviously, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Untapped to find out all the beers that we drink. And that's going to do it for us. Ferndale Set, Schoolcraft College, Michigan Beer Box, Jimmy John's 4th Annual Beer Festival, Zatuna Liquor, and North Center Brewing. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's
Better on Draft.
Better on Draft. Have a good night. Peace.